I just want to address that. You should fire him if you find cause for wrongdoing, no question. Find the facts, dig it out, go for it. I don't know that you are, but if you do consider it, please do not fire him or be tempted to fire him to implement a radical agenda. For instance, to indoctrinate children in critical race theory, implement the 1619 Project or whatever. These ideas are very controversial. We don't need to go there, and it would cause a severe public backlash, in my opinion. It's not the job of the school system to indoctrinate children. A child's worldview is deeply personal. I would say it's a sacred thing. It's a thing that's formed by the influence of the parents, by the religious leaders, and by teachers, of course. Schools must respect students' worldview beliefs, not indoctrinate them. This is a founding principle of America, one that's led to a flourishing civilization.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. Melissa Bunson. Valerie Curry. Followed by Samantha Vega.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent. Today I'm a semi-retired educator, but I arrived in this district in 2007 as a highly qualified teacher from New Jersey. And I was thrilled to be here, and I still am. Teaching here for 5 years of my 12 years in public schools. I have high expectations, and I had high expectations of this district, the promise of Gwinnett. I'm glad to be part of it, but these expectations have not yet been met. My research about this district brought me here because I found that its high reputation, my friends recommended it, and I also came after 22 years of corporate experience. I was a technical trainer at Belcour and at Bell Laboratories Technical Publications. I was assigned to develop Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award submissions. So quality control strategies and Edward Deming's continuous process improvements in developing corporate learning organizations was the background I also brought to my school teaching job. At Bell Laboratories, we wrote about, envisioned, and manifested organizations dedicated to 21st century models of leadership and learning. We embodied doing away with autocratic command control management, and I quote from one of the books that I wrote there, as a manager, if your identity is most closely tied to control, then change will be difficult for you. Both managers and employees must be willing to modify their traditional behaviors, particularly those relating to control and participation. So this shift away from traditional structures, empowering employees to not just do the work, but design and develop it, supports flatter compensation structures. Innovative public education management structures are being pioneered even locally, for example, by Condesi in Atlanta. Since many entry-level administrators see a 30% increase in their income the first year, teachers
Thank you, Ms. Curry. Samantha Vega. Followed by State Senator Clinton Dixon. State Senator, welcome.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm a lifelong resident of Gwinnett County and graduated from Central Gwinnett High School. I come before this board tonight, not as a state senator, but as a father of 3 with great concern for my children's education, just like all of you. I deeply express my support and gratitude for Alvin Wilbanks for the long-stead contribution that he has made to our county. Mr. Wilbanks has served as Chief Executive Officer and Superintendent since 1996. His leadership has made Gwinnett Public Schools one of the most successful school systems in the county, and our school are significantly a part of what has made Gwinnett what it is today. It is a great place to live, raise a family, and start a business. I wholeheartedly oppose the unwise effort by some of the board members to terminate him. During his tenure as Gwinnett County Public School System Superintendent, we've been the finalist for the Broad Prize for Urban Education. He has served under 3 governors on various boards and committees for education reform. He has served as chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Teachers Retirement System of Georgia for 7 years, advocating for our teachers' retirement benefits. He's been awarded the Georgia Superintendent of the Year, Citizen of the Year by Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce. He's received a Lifetime Achievement Award from UGA and was a finalist for the national title of Superintendent of the Year. I believe our district, and specifically our children, have directly benefited from the leadership of Mr. Wilbanks. With a global pandemic that's created significant challenges for our schools, teachers, and students, Mr. Wilbanks, working with the BOE and educators, was well prepared with technology and virtual learning, the tools needed to continue educating our students through the pandemic.
Thank you, State Senator. John Long. Zeph Everson.
Good evening. Good evening, Board and Mr. Wilbanks. My name is Zeph Everson. I'm currently a middle school student at the greatest middle school in the nation, Trickham Middle. I'm also the founder of #RecessForAll. Research states that kids learn foundational social skills when they play together on the playground at school. Our social education continues in middle school during lunch and clubs. Even our current predicament, our social education, emotional education, is still very important, and everyone is having a hard time with the lack of social interaction time. I would like to tell you about 2 things this evening. The first thing I would like to be discussing is #RecessForAll. I think the board should consider looking into investing into many of our local schools' playgrounds and consider upgrading them to be inclusive of all students. Some playgrounds currently have some areas that are not accessible to all students, particularly those with mobility issues. This also affects students who have social-emotional issues and those who cannot handle being in the sun for very long. Myself and 21 other students under the age of 10 raised close to $75,000 at play structures designed, built, and installed simply by connecting fundraising. I think that if a bunch of kids can raise this much money, that an entire school system of students could raise enough money to have the 80 elementary schools have playgrounds that represent every single student that goes to each of these schools. No kid belongs on the sidelines or should have to sit aside and watch their peers play while they cannot access the same equipment as everyone else. My whole point in saying this is that if we want everyone to know and recognize that all kids at their schools matter, then we should show them that they matter by making it possible for every single kid to play together.
Thank you, Zeph. Katie Nelson. Katie Nelson. Galia Ruiz. Dina Blair. Ariane Montgomery. Followed by Holly Toure.
How long will we sacrifice our Black women for this world-class education? Hello, board. My name is Ariane Montgomery. I'm a proud African-American woman and an alumna of GCPS. It is unfortunate that Black women throughout this county is being treated with such disdain. Ma Jones died an untimely death on January 4th due to contracting COVID-19 at your GCPS school. Yet by January 11th, Ms. Jones' daughter informed me that no one reached out to her, not a call, an email, not even a text. This is simply unacceptable to me. As a daughter of a current GCPS parapro, this is shocking, devastating, and disgusting. How many hours have we spent working with the district to ensure equitable community outreach? This is a blatant attack on Black womanhood, and it is time to put an end to this. To the stakeholders that continue to attack our Black women board members, understand that your argument is rooted in systemic racism. These women are fighting for the rights of all GCPS students in hopes of them achieving an equitable education. We continue to acknowledge the opportunity gap, and we clearly are aware that some changes need to be made, yet we place blame on some of our most credited board members that can help this county evolve into the Southern beacon of equity I know it can be. Understand it is a privilege for some parents to state that they do not want their students' education to be rooted in politics. As a Black woman, you are not given the choice to not conform to Eurocentrism and to speak and act in defiance of white supremacy is seen as a political act, which leads to further marginalization. Dr. Therese and Karen Watkins continue to be excellent. We praise our ancestors for you.
Thank you, Ms. Montgomery. Holly Teray. Madeline and Sherry Mitchell. I already heard from them. April Huff.
Hi. First, I would like to give my respect and appreciation to Mr. Wilbanks and his team. I'm a proud K-12 GCPS graduate, and I do not think the opportunities that have been afforded to so many of us should be lost on anyone. You have all chosen that you wanted this job and are continuing with it despite COVID risk, just as others in your family have, a pilot, psychologist, teacher, pediatrician. Some of your children are in person, you've taken vacations, and at least one representative felt comfortable enough to eat inside a restaurant on the same day that you called an emergency board meeting to delay school reopening due to fear of post-holiday community COVID numbers. As you're probably thinking otherwise, no, my family and I have not done that during the past 11 months. We all know of the data that it's safe to be in school despite even high community spread. My children see the managing physician of the oldest pediatric practice in Atlanta, and he cheered last week when I told him we were in person. For anyone watching, please speak up to advocate for in-person learning. The narrative is finally shifting, but there is still some dissension on our board. Gwinnett County cases are down 54% in the past 2 weeks, and President Biden confirmed Tuesday night that he would like the schools to be open 5 days a week. Remote learning is not acceptable for most students. There are no thresholds or additional COVID task forces or debates on closing schools needed. The answer is clear: schools must be open. So please get to work on any additional or improved mitigation strategies and use your federal funding to deliver anything additional the schools and teachers deem necessary, as well as working to eliminate concurrent teaching. Figure it out, as one Virginia dad said. It is your job to do that and to do right by these students, teachers, and districts. And in our county, you have the resources to do so. So please stop fueling the flames, elevating politics over science, and rise up to do the challenge you were signed up for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hood. Supporters and staff, thank you for making it to the end of the board meeting. We've now reached the point in the board meeting where we'll enter into board superintendent discussion. Would any of the board members like to go first? Any general comments from board members? Dr. Therese, would you like to start?
Well, it is Black History Month, and so in honor of Black History Month, I want to recognize our students, our community members, our teachers, staff, and I want to share this poem by Maya Angelou in honor of Black History Month to celebrate how much we have endured. COVID-19, many family members have lost loved ones. The insurrection, systemic injustices. There's so much, but I want our students to know, in celebration of Black History Month, that regardless of how difficult the times are, that together, united as a community, we can rise. So this is a poem by Maya Angelou. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds? Well, out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. So to our students, know that we see you, we love you, we value you, we cherish you, we care for you. To all of our students, we will do the best that we can to ensure your needs are met. Rise, we will rise together.
Thank you, Dr. Therese.
Thank you, Dr. Therese. I'm reminded again this month that we've got an incredible staff here at GCPS. The presentations by Dr. Parker on the SEL were fantastic. The presentations, when you think about this week, and you know, for those of you who may or may not know, the board had training on Friday and Saturday. It was something I wasn't necessarily looking forward to because it was a long weekend and my wife had that extra day and she had plenty of honeydews for me. But we got together and we spent a lot of time. We spent about 12 hours together over those 2 days. And it was incredibly productive. I know for me, I just want to say to the two new board members that, you know, we got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but we're getting there. And I appreciate y'all taking the time, and I appreciate Chairman Blair for spearheading that and getting us together, and I think it was very helpful. I appreciated the time to get to know you. And then on Monday I think it was Monday, where Dr. Thompson was awarded. Could have been, I mean, Dr. Murphy was then at that recognition at Northbrook, and what an incredible. And then Tuesday, we had a chance to have lunch, Mr. Blair and Dr. Murphy and I at GGC. What an incredible, we got another mask I could put on today. What a great resource we have there and a great partnership that's growing. 70% of their students are from Gwinnett County, so we really provide them with a lot of their students, and they are providing a winning option for a lot of our kids. And that was, so that was on Tuesday, and then yesterday was the Valor Awards with the Chamber, and we had two of our SROs that were recognized in the life-saving category, along with several others. And we had one that won it, and for saving a young child along the road along Sugarloaf Parkway one evening. What an incredible story. So, you know, there's a lot that we get to be a part of because as a part of our community, we are an integral part of our community. We have, under Mr. Wilbanks' leadership, created a place where people want to come, they want to live, they want to educate their kids, and that's an exciting thing. So I just want to say that based upon just this last week, and again, the presentations and the incredible staff that we have that are working as hard as they can to make sure we meet all these various needs, deal with the opportunities, close the gaps that are out there. I'm excited to be a part of this board, to be a part of this team, and I look forward to learning from you and your expertise. And I know that, again, from the 2 years that I've served with Mr. Blair and the times that we've had together, the five of us have the children of Gwinnett and their best at the top of our priority list. And we're going to come together and we're going to work together to make sure that we provide a quality product to the students of Gwinnett County.
Thank you, Mr. Blair, for the chance to do this, to give this report. Well, I'm listening to Dr. Therese. You were remarkable. I had the privilege one time earlier in my life to meet Maya Angelou, and so what you have just said and shared with us means so very, very much. And I know it means a great bit to our community. And Mr. Knutson, I thank you for sharing with our audience this evening the experiences that we've had that have been so meaningful the last 5 to 6 days. So meaningful in terms of binding our board together as a board. What I'd like to speak about then, in addition to those great remarks from both of you, Mr. Wilbanks, you've just done a remarkable job listening to us, hearing what we wanted to have information about, and presenting the reports we've heard today. Quite frankly, they're some of the very best that I've heard since we've been working here in the Gwinnett County Public School System. And if I might just share with you briefly what those reports were and why they're so meaningful. We had 3 presenters come to us to talk about information management and technology, data governance, and information security. That would be Mr. Elmore, Dr. Debbie Durrance, and Mr. Arlen Peterkin. Those reports were at the highest level, giving us an understanding of how complex this school system is and how important it is to protect our security. Mr. Peterkin pointed out to us that there are 43 million attempts to break into our school system a day. And that gives you an idea then how large our database must be. That was a tremendous report, and we're so very appreciative that information management and security and technology are in your hands. Then we had a tremendous report from Dr. Flint about the 3 cross-functional action teams that we have. We have many more, but these 3 are particularly remarkable now because they speak to us about COVID-19, about the threats to us from it, about the residual effects, social emotional learning, and about what we're going to be introducing as a study of the impact of COVID-19 this whole year on our students' academic learning. And those who presented information on that included Dr. Alexander, and we had an opportunity to hear about the work of Dr. Anthony Smith, and Dr. Flint presented that information to us. And then we had Dr. Hunter. I want to express great appreciation to you for your report on English language learners. 29% of the students who are in those programs are English language learners, are in our school system. And we were very sorry a little earlier today that your first report had to be reduced in size, but you more than made up for it this evening, giving us incredible detail that we were not able to hear in the afternoon. But it's great work you have underway, and the report is very meaningful. And then Dr. Tommy Welsh, we so appreciate you. You are our Chief Equity and Compliance Officer. You are our inaugural Chief Equity and Compliance Officer. And the work you're doing in the area of equity, touching every single feature of our public school system, is pioneering, it's significant, and it's terribly, terribly impactful to 180,000 students, and extends back beyond them to their parents, and quite frankly to the million people who are here in our county. And so I do very much want to express appreciation for those reports. We had a legislative update from Mr. Gomez, very helpful, looking at what initiatives are underway as our General Assembly. I believe it's in the 5th week of sessions, the House and the Senate, and the bills that have great import for us. And I want to thank Dr. Thigpen for the equity reports on discipline and giving us a very great appreciation of some of the data points that we've asked for and that you have provided. So, Mr. Wilbanks, again, thank you to you for overseeing this. I hope I haven't forgotten any of the reports that were so terribly important, except for one I'm going to add to it, please. Dr. Monica Batiste gave us great information about our staffing and the fact that we're really, really doing well with substitute teachers. We need them so very greatly, and many of the initiatives that are underway to bring the substitute teachers to a full force are very meaningful. So thank you very much, Mr. Wilbanks, and Mr. Blair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Therese, Mr. Knudsen, and Dr. Murphy for your comments. Like Mr. Knudsen stated, I look forward as well to working with this board. We've learned so much about each other, and we found that we had more in common than not in common, which is a great thing. And the main thing we have in common is ensuring student achievement and ensuring all of our students have opportunities. So that's a great thing, and that is the main focus. With reference to other things, as in we have celebrating Black History Month, which is a great thing, and we should be extremely celebratory. I hope we can celebrate the great achievements made by African Americans and recognize their central role in U.S. history and the legacy left through their achievements. With that, I would like to acknowledge the teachers, the counselors, administrators, and all staff for their service and great accomplishments, some of which we had the great opportunity to witness tonight. And through their accomplishments, whether they realize it or not, they have left a legacy of education. I want to thank you all for your service and great achievements and giving our students the legacy of education. In closing, thank you all for your voice. I hope together, we as a board, our community, our students, we are able to shape our students to be the future leaders and history makers of tomorrow. I'm excited for us to work together and to help our children to move forward educationally with skills that will take them far and will enable them to create legacies of their own. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins, and thank you, board members. I echo your sentiments completely. And the last weekend board training, I think, was a really important moment for us. And I really appreciated everybody taking the time to make that count. To anybody who's looking at this board, we are a motley crew in many ways. We span age, generations, races, countries of origin, political ideologies, religions, and languages. When we talk about the diversity of Gwinnett County, it is also encapsulated in this board leadership. And yet we work together, and we have been able to prove that we can do that together. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve as your chair. I'm thankful to be able to hear and work with you. And to the community, I can take the heat. It is not why I do this work to hear folks come up here and say certain things about me, but it's fine because my North Star, to the point that we've shared, has not changed. And we should be focused on the big rocks. We should be focused on academic equity right now. There are so many big fish to fry that the less we can engage in conversation about the individuals up here, and the more we can focus our attention forward on how we're going to attenuate some of these gaps in the learning loss that our students have experienced, how we can continue to support our teachers, how we can set the conditions for our new leader when that time comes, and what we can do right now to make sure that we all have a governing body that we trust and can support. And that's where I think we should continue to put the energy and the emphasis, not about the people that are up here, but about the important work that we have to do ahead. We will absolutely be an accredited school system. I have no doubt about that. And we can absolutely work together to ensure the success of the 180,000 students that work here, while understanding that in a county of 1 million people, no one decision or no one thing that any one of us says is going to please or appease everybody all the time. And so long as we all keep, I think, grounded in that focus on students, we're going to go far. To that point, I have been so encouraged by the student voices. If you think about the things that we said about how you should conduct yourself, how you should make your comments, how you should be focused on the work, all of them did that. And they, to me, were a shining light about how bright our future is and how much, as much as they're looking up to us, we probably should be looking down to them, because they have shown time and time again just the importance of the work that we do every day. So thank you all for coming. Mr. Wilbanks.
Mr. Blair, I don't want to single anybody out necessarily. We're proud for everybody that shows up at a board meeting. But I would like to recognize Representative Clint Dixon, who's here tonight. We don't have many members of the General Assembly who come, so thank you very much for being here. And I must say he's a good supporter of public education. We appreciate that.
Thank you all for coming tonight. This meeting's adjourned.